You're live.
Thank you. So I got a check here. Losing track of days already. All right. Welcome to the Electrical Committee. It is January 4th, Thursday. Present today are Public Works Director Troy Kruger, Finance Officer Chandra Phillips, Councilman Ron Sprinkle, and Jeremy Clay, and Electrical Superintendent CJ Hawkinson / Knight. No, I have year-end numbers here in front of you guys to take a look at and question. Operationally, CJ, Troy, do you guys have anything?
Yeah, that's just what I gave you guys, is how the year ended up. I ran out of printer ink in my printer, so I didn't. Everything was fine in electric. Kurt came in, his revenues came in above, like they finished up at 107% or something like that. But his expenses, he
113.
spent like 97% of his expense line, so.
There's a couple more things that will hit it, just end of year, or end of month payments that we haven't entered yet. Like MRES, WAPA, those type of things, so those are still going. He'll still be fine, but, yeah.
So, yeah, he was good on the end of the year stuff. I did not
Did it
print
feel
out
that good?
the beginning of the year stuff, because the only thing that has come out of any of the public works budgets so far is their comp insurance, utilities. That's it.
Yeah.
We haven't turned any POs in yet for 2024, so we're doing that today, actually. But so there's not, the only thing that's came out of his 2024 budget so far is just a few, some equipment payments and his comp insurance and some fuel and utilities. That's it. Still don't have a date from DGR. We're looking at that first meeting in February. If you guys would like to do, I mean, I guess that's, my thought is last year we, just to refresh your memory, we budgeted $30,000 to have DGR's electrical engineers do a study for us on the city, and their findings is what we would like to bring to you guys. And Kurt and I have sat down with them multiple times. Kurt's on the phone with Jared quite a bit, just getting little last minute pieces of information. They didn't want to do it this month because he's not 100% sure on some of his numbers, but he's feeling pretty confident about the first meeting in February. But is that going to work, Mayor, Mr. Mayor? To do it like after our meeting and then just have a question and answer? I don't think I'm going to bring Jake in on that one. Jake's going to come before and probably just go to streets.
Here's what I'd like to do. Instead of going late and running long, we have that window between 5, the end of the day, and 6:30, the meeting, where if we could come in beforehand, I would prefer that, but if that doesn't work, we can go afterwards.
No, I'm fine either way.
I just think we'd get better attendance if we
It always
came
seems
in
like
at-
with the electrical department that the council members have a lot of questions. And I don't want to, but maybe those guys can stick around and we can continue it if that's the,
If we come in before, we can go through the meeting, then we can sit around afterwards and visit about it also. But I'd like to open it to the public also.
I'll plan on
Your
then.
council's there, technically you have to, it has to be open to the public,
Well, that-
considered a public forum.
That's basically, yeah, I understand that, but, okay,
Does it have to be advertised for the whole council there too?
yeah.
24 hours notice.
I'll let Kurt tell you what he's been doing. The only other thing, Kurt and I were talking about yesterday, and it popped up in a conversation that I'm trying to plan a streets project and trying to think if we could incorporate some electrical into it, because we're probably gonna try and we're gonna try for that, Jake and I are gonna try for that, public access grant again. And that's due in July.
Are you guys thinking 7th Street again?
No, we're thinking Monroe, out front here. So, the more utilities you can bring into the picture, the better your, chances of getting the grant are. So I was trying to incorporate some electric in there, and Kurt brought up the, streetlights. So we can kind of do on Monroe here what we've done on Main Street with putting in like a street light on both sides of the block, up to 4th Street, like, and light this area up in the, post office area. Could use some lighting, but, Kurt and I also just discussed that we really don't have any, like, I guess, ordinance or policy that states, you know, like how far between our streetlights that we go. And so Kurt would like to get an answer from council on, when we're redoing all this electrical, because he's probably gonna be up on 10th Street this summer.
Yeah, it's kind of my plan. Obviously, talking to Jared and the engineers, what they come back, if it's kind of different, go from there. But kind of do some of that 10th Street block, and then as we're burying this stuff, just kind of the plan as far as street lighting. I know it's a issue as far as anywhere you go. People always complain that there's not enough light or too much light. I was talking to Troy about it, Brookings. I said they're the street light capital of the world, as they are in there. It was every 125 foot they put a street light up.
How many a block? 3?
That's about half a block.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Block is
1,
3.
2, 3
Yeah,
on each block.
we'd have, about like that. And I was involved in a project up there. The city decided to change out all the wood poles and put aluminum ones in. And they actually removed some, removed over 1,000 streetlights, and that's what it came up. So it was overlit on a lot of spots and stuff like that, but it gives the street a pretty good light, it's lit up pretty good. The one thing, as we move to go into underground, it's not gonna be as easy to just pop a pole in and stuff like that. So we kind of have a plan that we can kind of move forward, and 125 to 150 feet. You can get about 7 lights off of a feed point coming from a transformer. Then after that, like when I was up there, we would do luminaire studies on the streets, and that's when you start seeing voltage drop and the lights don't light up as good when you get past that. So that's kind of on a side note, but so that would be something I would kind of suggest, right around that 125 to 150 feet, have a street light on a residential block.
You said 3 on a block, then? That's kind
It's
of about
roughly
that.
what it would be.
What are we now? 1, 2?
You pick a street and it's different.
Yeah.
Like some of them,
Some places we go 4 blocks.
we kind of had a complaint up on
But
10th,
zero.
10th
4
Street,
blocks,
yeah. Up on 10th Street, it's really well lit on the west half, the east half, and then they were complaining about the middle half. Yeah, there isn't one. You go about 400 feet without seeing your next light. And then there's a spot right there where they're about 70 feet apart. It's just kind of stuff like that. And as we move forward, they're just gonna be on one side on the residential blocks because we don't wanna have to cross the
Jump,
street.
yeah.
And then it'll, if you're digging up the street or anything like that, it's a chance the wire to get hit, and it's a lot easier that way.
8th Street by the hospital is another one that the hospital staff calls a lot, and they'd like to see that, the south side of the hospital, or the north side of the hospital there along 8th Street, because a lot of people park on that street.
And I
That's
think
another one that,
the next block east, Harding's right there, right? Going into the hospitals at Harding. The next block, the east, I know they've said that to me, and there's not a street light on that block. And it's something that we haven't. I've looked at a couple at the end of this year, and to get it to feed to it or whatever, when we bury, I think that block, that alley or whatever hasn't been buried yet. But to get a street light out in the middle is kind of when we'd have to do it. So that's kind of, I guess, what I would suggest, kind of going to that, and then on there. And as far as like the poles and everything, as far as like a wood pole to a aluminum pole, you're probably a $500 difference, I would say, when you're in there, probably maybe a little bit less too, if that's, they'd
Does
look.
aluminum pole have a longer lifespan than a wood pole then or not?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, the only time you'll see a wood pole rot is if the wiring goes bad down at the base of it. It'll start to arc there, and it'll take off the paint that they have it, and it'll start to corrode.
A wood pole or aluminum?
Aluminum pole.
Okay.
Wood pole's gonna rot,
Yeah.
just with the environment, I guess, on there. We have fiberglass poles. There is a lifespan on those. Weed whackers, a weed whacker will take them down over time. Somebody just weed whack around, it is what it is on there. We got some down there and we're putting them up, because we got them, and they do look good and everything, so.
Kurt, some of them lights they got up now, I don't know, maybe they're supposed to be LEDs.
Yeah,
They were one of the first ones they put up. Really doesn't broadcast out, it's just straight down.
It's down, yep. So like your old HPS lights, you could see it down the street. But if you're looking down the street on an LED block, it's gonna look really dark until you hit underneath
Yeah.
that light, and then it broadcasts it. You're not gonna get, I haven't seen them where they kinda do that. I know what you're talking about and everything like that, and it does light up that area, but when you're looking down, it doesn't really light up down the
You
street.
still got a dark shadow.
Yeah, kind of
Just
down
all
on
of it.
there. I don't know what to tell you as far as what would be the best thing. And then I know I want to go to kind of a standard light too, because I know Shanders said about metering them all, but the one thing I guess that from Brookings, what they did, they had a test street. So any light that they had out there, they would meter that light and say, we got 1,000 of these heads out there, times it on that. Our town's quite not that big as far as that goes, so if we just keep a standard kind of head going from now on and meter one of them and say, we'll keep track of this is how many we got out there, we times that, and that would, because if we were gonna meter every light, it's about $600 per light on top of everything else, so you're never gonna have a payback on it, and they're maybe using $7 a month of electricity, build it out like we do and stuff, so.
That'd be fine from our end.
Yeah, they would do, it was kind of down next to their elevator, they had from 400 watt down to 30 watt heads down this block, and they were just metered every one, and that's where they took their billing off of it and stuff, so, on it, so. But that would be kind of a plan set forth, I would think that would benefit it as when we are burying it, because it will get a little bit tougher. Like with the overhead, you can kind of just plop a pole, string the wire over it, and now we're digging back into a spot, and it's not as easy to get wire to a spot to feed it. So if we could come up with some sort of plan as, hey, this is how we're gonna light the town. If it was less too, that's fine. It just depends on what you guys kind of want the town to be lit up as, I guess, on it.
We just want to plan, so as Kurt starts to go underground, we don't have to go back and do any of this stuff. We're trying to get it all done the first
Do you-
go round, so.
Do you want an ordinance that says it has to be this much,
I
or
don't-
do you just want suggestion from council?
Just suggestions and kind of,
I'm
this is,
open to whatever you guys are, and we can talk about it with the rest of the council. It's an operational decision, but ultimately,
you guys will get complaints though. So, I mean, that's where it's
Right.
like, this is why we're doing it moving forward, is I guess kind of where I was going at it, so you can explain it to people too. And
I guess, we just started talking about this yesterday, it just popped up, because I literally had nothing for this meeting, but, the other thing is, we probably should, we'll consult with DGR and ask them, because there might actually be some, with all the rules and regulations in the world, this day, they might say that you have, that what they recommend is one every so many, every 300 feet or every 150 feet, and then it might be different in like hospital areas and school areas and versus residential, so we could ask them what their recommendation is to go forward for us and.
Let's do
kinda
that.
go off what-
Yeah,
I would defer to them, wouldn't you?
somebody knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
Sounds good. work through it, guys, come back to us sometime and we'll discuss it.
I always like to go back to those guys and say, if we were gonna design a city, how would you design it, you know? And then that's kind of where we go from there, so. That's all I got today.
Light poles, distance?
Yeah, I guess kind of right now, we're trimming trees out there.
So how did the first storm affect you guys? Did we go down?
We had one outage, but it was nothing to do with the storm. It was a cat problem. On there, we had a cat. We had a cat get up on the pole, and I think he used his lives at that point.
All at once?
Yeah, so that was one of our outages. That was, I guess, the outage we had during that winter storm, but we're,
So you
Trim
kind of
trees.
spaded and neutered it all at the same time?
yep, buried it the whole nine, I guess. And then we got 1,410 meters deployed,
Oh, how many?
1,410.
That's pretty precise, thank you.
Yep, I can. And
How many to go?
I think about 500.
500.
A little less, I think.
Is
It's like
it?
1,640 some odd accounts.
Is that what it
I
is?
was thinking it was 18.
I was thinking 18
That's
too.
what I thought, right around there.
16, that's just shy of 17, like it's in between 16 and 17 somewhere.
Okay. Meter seals is what we're kind of waiting on now. I ordered them 8 weeks ago. I thought we had enough to get us done through this or close to, but I think I have about 150 meter seals, so I'm kind of hoarding them in case we have to do disconnects or stuff like that. They should be here this month, I'm hoping. I ordered them clear back in November. So that was our holdup now.
Troy, wrong committee, but similar topic. How's the water meters? Are they done or where are they at on
They
that?
have 688. We were looking at it yesterday.
To go or done?
They have 688 done.
Done.
Yeah, radios installed, and then, so it's going a little slower for those guys because they're finding that they're having to get in the house because the reader itself is actually, so the new system that we have the new census system, when they put the radio up, it automatically tells you right away what condition the battery life's in for the actual reader itself. And we're finding like about every third one is the battery's almost depleted, so they're changing it out as they go. So they're moving a little slower because they're having to get a hold of the people and get in their house and get that done. But yeah, I mean, before the snowstorm, we had a couple of weeks there where we were getting like 20, 25 done a day done. So if we get a break in the weather, we'll get back at it. I'd say those guys will be close to 1,000 here pretty quick. But I mean, Ricky and Matt were driving snow truck or helping out with snow removal in some way, shape, or form for the last week and a half, so,
Now you're moving snow off, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
But it's making a huge difference. It's making a huge difference on the electrical side too. I can't believe how many comments I've had from people in the community about, their bills went up because our meters are reading more accurately, both sides, water and electric. So it's making a big difference for the city. And then I think just the sheer number of meters that weren't reading,
We're dead.
dead. So our revenues are gonna be a lot better at the end of 2024 than they are right now. Water's already shown them a big increase. I think it's going pretty smooth on you guys' side though. You guys,
Yeah.
you're having a few meter issues. We're finding some meters that aren't showing up on the command center. Ray's been working on that, and Kurt.
Yeah, it's what he's kind of talking about. All of our meters are GPS, so we know that they're out there. And they set us up with an app, and then Brandy can actually just input that stuff on her side to get the accounts switched over and everything, and then we can put it on kind of our command center, which is the meter side of it. And for some odd reason, there was we had 7 of them that just didn't transfer from into her billing side or onto our command center side as far as its reading and everything like that. It just, GPS's locations didn't pop up, and it's pretty simple. I think the last time we had to read, if you would've took those out of there, we wouldn't have had to send anybody out to read any meters. I'm thinking the last time we did disconnects, we didn't have to go out.
That's what I was just gonna ask,
Yeah.
what percentage of the
I don't
disconnect
think
or
we had to.
Randy did them all.
Yeah, I think, yeah, if I remember right, yep. So,
how many hours did you use to spend on that? Disconnect,
depending,
reconnect?
but, I mean, 4 hours at least, doing that, reading.
A week.
It would be once a month, and then every once in a while, we'd have some smaller ones filter in and everything, so it would take about an hour, because if you had to stop doing what you were doing to go do that, and then they would usually get paid, and you're going right back
Right.
to do it, so it takes about an hour to do it in a sense.
So 4 hours or 8 hours?
Yeah, I would say on just a disconnect day, and then the read days, like when I first got here, it was taking us a day. And that was the entire crew going out there to read it, so I mean, it's saving money there as far as
Even
wages.
on the water side, it used to take them 2 days. 8 years ago, it took them 2 days to do all the readings. With 2 people, it's now taking them 2 hours with 2 people to do the water readings.
That's awesome.
Hour and 22 minutes,
Now it's like,
if you ask. That's just what Ricky told me.
I believe it, they're here.
But you do the math, if it's 4 hours going out, 4 hours
Yeah,
going back out, 8 hours a month, that's 96 hours in a year. That's 2 weeks of productivity for one person.
yeah.
And in fairness, if Ricky did it in an hour and 22 minutes, it'd take somebody else 2 hours.
Well, you went a different direction than I thought you would. He's
No,
pers-
it's the, all in all, the electric, this AMI system for the electric and for the water is a huge asset to the city. On the electric side, it's not as, it's more just reading your electric consumption. I mean, there's not the problems that we see with the water side, but I can tell you, like, on the water side, since we've started this system, Mark has caught probably a dozen customers that, when they get there in the morning, they pull up on the census, it's census analytical. He'll pull it up and it'll have an alarm page, and it'll show him what, if there's a meter that's not responding. Curt's system has the same thing. They're very similar. The only thing is that, so if the meter's not responding, it tells you that right away. But if like on Mark's side, we could pull up and on Kurt's side too for that matter, but we can look at your energy consumption or your water consumption on an hourly basis. So if you have something in your house that's, not functioning properly, it'll show up on that. It'll show you how, it'll show you how many gallons an hour. I can look at the water side and I can tell you in your house when you're showering. If you got up at 11 o'clock and you didn't shower till 11:30, I can see it when you shower, because it's gonna be about 20 to 30 gallons of water. And it shows it right there. But if it's continuous use, let's say it's 20 gallons of water for like a 10 or 12-hour period, it'll get an alarm. And so Mark's called those people up and said, hey, we got an alarm on our system, so it shows that you've got continuous water use for a 24-hour period of time. You're using like 20 gallons a minute, or 20 gallons an hour for a 24-hour period of time. And they got a toilet running, or, something that they wouldn't necessarily, those are the calls that we used to get in the office when people would get to see their bill and they'd be like, there's no way I went through
Yeah, I didn't use that
14,000
much
gallons
water.
of water in a month.
How are those people responding to that call?
Oh, they're very appreciative, oh yeah, I caught it, it was our toilet downstairs was running, whatever. But, I mean, that's saving them as a customer, that's saving them
It
a lot
is.
of money on their water bill.
Yeah,
So, it is, it's a.
that's great.
If people are seeing something on the, if their electric side if their bill is high for some reason, they don't understand why. It's Christmas time. I could guarantee you my electric bill is gonna be way higher because my wife's a Christmas tree freak and she's got 4 Christmas trees plugged in. And so my electric bill is gonna, you know, all the Christmas paraphernalia we got around the house, my electric bill is gonna be $30 higher this month.
More
Just-
people home, using more electricity,
People just
more
don't,
water.
people don't realize how much electricity just a space heater.
You're cooling your garage.
And yeah, like if you have a space heater in your house and you just try to keep one room a little bit warmer, how much electricity that thing uses in a 24-hour period of time, in a 30-day period of time. And so now we can show them that. We can say, here's where your usage went up. It'll show it by the hour. Here's where your usage went up. Here's where it went back down. What were you doing? You know, what'd you do? Oh yeah, we had that. We plugged in something to dry out carpets or something in the house or whatever. And it's just a super good tool for us to educate the public on.
To me, it looks like it helps the office over here from getting chewed out so much.
Yes. Yes, it does. The other thing is, and I know it's been talked about before, but Encode, Tyler, has the ability to get that out to the customers where they can log on to their utility bill and view this at any point in time too. So Landis and Gear will communicate, Census will communicate to Tyler and put it out there.
Are we doing that?
So I wrote that down. I wanted to talk to you guys about that. That is our goal, to get to that point. We are waiting till all meters are installed, and, because when we do that, we would do a total upgrade of putting it out there so that you can pay your bill online, view your usage online, and then the budget billing as well. So it's 3 major upgrades that go into it. But it's going to be costly for us to do it. There is a grant out there available to help us get that upgrade. And so our name has been added to a list of individual municipalities or utility customers that would like to do that. So we're looking at probably 2 years from now, getting that to go live. So then we would put that link on our website. You have a login. You can view all of your usage, all of your historical bills, pay your bill online, all of it. And then when you pay online, because we've had this complaint before, when you pay online, it automatically will post to your account then too. So it's not this
Through the
3-day
Tyler Technologies.
Yep, it's not this 3-day wait with the current company. So there's a lot of good things that are coming through that. I'm excited for it, but we're probably 2 years out.
Don't say
waiting
that.
on it, so.
Cut that down.
Well, for the budget billing, we have to have so many years worth of history, otherwise they don't qualify.
We're gathering history now. So you're hearing me say January.
You have to have 3 years worth of history in order for it to work. That's what they say. And for some accounts, that works great. I bet we also had 600 accounts that weren't reading for water. So, and that's where your biggest flux is gonna come in, so. With the utility billing accounts, you guys have heard Troy and I think myself talk about this read back on solar meters. So Brandy was on the phone with Tyler yesterday. Because we only have 3 accounts that have solar on them that we know of at this point in time, correct? We're gonna manually enter that information. Otherwise, Tyler does have the ability to take it from Landis and Gear and input it into the bills. Again, it costs money to do that. For 3 accounts, not worth the money, we're gonna manually input it. So that started with January's readings, and Kurt and Ray have showed us where they are. Brandy will manually input those in for that January's bill, which will be March 1st. Our regular payout is 0.0306, so just a little bit over 3 cents per kWh, but we also get to deduct what our loss percentage is, and DGR has that loss percentage for us. We just have to get it updated to be the full 2023, so we have to get them a little more information on that, but we'll be able to do that quickly. So that's where we're at with those. Did you want to talk about that state bill?
Yeah, I suppose.
So I barely remember what we did yesterday, much less a contract that we signed back in 2020. So I apologize that I didn't recognize it when they sent it to me, but the state sent us a bill for just over almost $16,000. After talking with DGR and the state, what it was is the city entered into a contract with the state back in 2020 that they would upgrade our poles along the highway so that they would be sturdy enough to hang our banners and put plug-ins on each of them so that we could hang our Christmas stuff. That is the exact amount that we signed in 2020, which is fabulous. So that was budgeted for, and in looking at Kurt's budget, I think it'd be beneficial if we just encumber that over in with that encumbering. We already talked about the 3 months worth of Landis gear. He budgeted for that in the highway project.
When was it supposed to be paid?
So they didn't do it till the end of the project because they had to wait till all of them were in.
So you're encumbering from
Did you
last
send that
year.
email to me?
He sent it to you yesterday.
Okay.
You were on it.
Because, don't pay anything till I check on that, because I told them at the end of this project, I'm pretty sure I told them to not worry about the banners. We weren't gonna do the reinforced poles.
They had already done it on the
This
first
decision was made back in 2020, though.
They
of
didn't
those
have the
polls.
materials to do it.
Then they would have had to submit a change order to us to not do it, because we
Yeah.
have a signed contract telling them to.
That's why I'm saying, don't pay anything till I get to the bottom of this, because Muth Electric called, and we talked about this, doing the different poles on this end of the project.
Versus this side.
Yeah, and it wasn't, let me double check on that and see where, because I remember having that conversation with the Muth guys.
You don't
Just-
think it happened because.
I don't think it happened, on
Just,
this end.
just so you have some background as this discussion has happened, I think this contract was only from like the current Gus Stop location through Wild West in the city of Winter, because we used to hang the lights and the banners
Yeah,
on
there was-
those poles.
Well, there was a welcome to winter, Merry Christmas,
Yep,
welcome to
right at
winter
the
on this
courthouse.
side. And there was another one coming in on this side. And
That was at the Gun Jeff's, I think, didn't it hang from there? Yeah.
It wasn't.
I'm
all of the
okay,
poles.
let's dig into it,
But
but
that was
it,
this, that was in 2023's project, that was, and we had a discussion about the light poles and putting in the reinforced light poles, and they asked if we were still gonna do the banner that hung across, and I'm pretty sure that we had that conversation, and they didn't have whatever to do it, and I said, just don't worry about it, just do it.
Well, then it might be a problem of maybe Muth charged the state, because that's what it was, is we
So
are
let me-
reimbursing.
Just
the
let me
state.
check into it before we
Okay.
go any further.
But if we're going to encumber it, it has to be done before the first meeting in February.
well, we got time, he can get it done in that time. I do remember the reinforced poles
And
and the plug-ins contract,
That was part of the
Yeah.
the plans that originated in 2017.
yeah.
They had that included.
Yeah,
Okay,
he sent you the contract. You were included on that email. Only other thing I had for you guys when it comes to Kurt's department through our office is, and I mentioned this during yesterday's committee too, so if you were here yesterday, you've already heard this. When it comes to disconnects, we have the right to send our electric department and our police department over there to check on anyone who is disconnected from our system to verify that they are, number one,
safe.
safe. Number two, that they are not, that they didn't find a way around it and reconnect it without us knowing it, because if there is a power outage and our guys are over there working and there's a backfeed, our employees aren't safe. And number two, it is federally illegal to steal power from anyone else, and so they can check on that too. So there was comment and concern and threat of suit to us for sending our employees over there to check on that. We have every right to do that. So, just FYI, in case you hear about it, we can do it. And we do it for all of them. If they're off for an extended amount of time, if they're off for one day, we don't send our guys over there. But if they're off for an extended amount of time, we send our guys over there. pretty often to check on it. And we've caught a lot of weird things, so. And no, they don't go peek in their windows. Right, right.
Is it true?
I know that would be probably I don't know what committee it would fall under, but, you can shut it off.
Oh,
Christmas decorations.